Now, President Trump has famously promised to drain the swamp. Now, a lot of people thought, hey, great, we're going to get rid of this corruption. We're going to get the special interests. We're going to get the big donors out of the White House. I'm in favor of that. We're all in favor of that. A majority of the American people say, yes, corporations and the wealthy have too much influence on our political system. So if there's a politician or a non-politician that's running for office that's going to get rid of them, great. Okay, we can get behind that. Now, some of them even believed, well, hey, this guy, listen to what he's saying. He can't be bought. He cannot be bought. Well, it turns out, yes, he can. See, instead of draining the swamp decided to buy him off. And it was actually really, really easy. It only cost about over $100 million. Now, to show you how much money, and to really put this thing into context, I want to give you a comparison between Donald Trump and Barack Obama. Okay, and how much money that they raised for their inauguration. That's just inauguration. That doesn't have anything to do with during their campaign. Okay, now, Barack Obama had set a record in 2009, raising $53 million to support his inauguration. Now, that inauguration was fairly large. Actually, it was one of the largest inaugurations. There was 1.5 million people there. Okay, great. So, now, that money, of course, came from lots of contributors nationwide. Now, why? Well, at the time, donations were capped at about $50,000. That's still a lot of money. Now, in the tradition of past inauguration, that $53 million also included millions of dollars from various special interest groups. Now, Barack Obama, he raised a lot of money during his campaign as well from the banks. So, don't misunderstand me here. I'm not absolving President Obama from taking money from big corporations and also being a neoliberal establishment candidate, because that's absolutely what he was. Even though I kind of miss him at this point. But anyway, now, let's see. Trump, however, is a little bit different. See, he raised, according to disclosure forms, he raised $107 million for his inauguration. Now, that's about twice of what Obama had raised for his. And unbelievably, he actually had even less donors than Obama had, about half the, or a big fraction, I should say, of the donors that Obama had. He had less, but he ended up getting more. Interesting. Now, Trump took $5 million from billionaire casino owner and Republican mega donor Sheldon Adelson. So, again, that's a lot of money. These are people who it's just some of the people that he's raised money from. The largest single inauguration donation ever. According to the Center for Public Integrity, others who gave at least $1 million included coal baron, Wall Street investors, there's the swamp, fast food CEOs, 3 major health insurance companies also contributed about $100,000 each. Energy interests contributed more than $8 million to the inauguration, according to a study done by USA Today. Kelsey Warren, the millionaire behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, which Trump decided to approve and now he's pushing through, gave him $250,000. ExxonMobil contributed $500,000 the week after Trump announced Rex Tillerson as his pick for Secretary of State. Oh, and look, along with that, look at what Trump's giving back to ExxonMobil. He's going to ease the sanctions on Russia so ExxonMobil can drill there and they can do this big oil deal, this multi-billion-dollar oil deal that Rex Tillerson and ExxonMobil and Vladimir Putin really, really wanted to do. Fun. So there's a little bit of hypocrisy here when it comes to President Trump. Not only did he blow out Barack Obama in fundraising for his inauguration, he did so with less small donors and more large special interest corporate donors. Now, those donors together, you know what we call them? We call them the swamp. That's the swamp. That's the swamp you're supposed to drain. No, they're draining all that money into you. That's what they're doing. Now, during his campaign, Trump, he ran on the fact that, hey, I'm not your standard politician. I give them money and they do what I want to do. I'm not that person. You can't own me. You can't buy me. Well, that turned out to be an absolute lie. It's pretty clear that from his cabinet picks that we've detailed on the show, most of them are Goldman Sachs guys or big corporate owners, CEOs. This is the wealthiest presidential cabinet in history. This has to show you that Donald Trump, when he said he drained the swamp, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. He was lying to you. He was lying to your face to get your vote. And you believed it. You chanted, drain the swamp, drain the swamp. Well, guess what? He filled the swamp. And look, we on the show, we were telling you this. Okay, progressive, independent media. We were saying this. Corporate media, they're useless. They didn't say anything about that. They didn't talk about the corruption because they love the corruption. They bathe in this corruption. They get all this money from these super PACs to run ads. So you think they're going to talk about all the money that was raised in the inauguration? Absolutely not. But us in independent media, we were talking about it. We were saying Donald Trump is the swamp. He is the new establishment. He is out here. He is lying to you. We said it. All the way back in November, by the way. You had the Center for Public Integrity reporting that Trump's inaugural team had been selling access to the president in exchange for money, for giant sums of money. And though he didn't take money from lobbyists, he ended up taking money from wealthy individual donors who were now able to, thanks to McCutcheon, thanks to Citizens United, to be able to give them millions and millions of dollars in donations. And a lot of it money is also dark money. And of course, now Trump, since he's in office, he's been repaying them. He's been repaying his donors. Now, one of the things that a lot of these donors wants, he got $8 million for his inauguration from energy companies. Well, what's one of the first things that he tried to do? He removed much of Obama's climate regulations. Got rid of them. Gone. These were regulations on companies, which, by the way, are just rules to prevent them from screwing you over or dumping toxic coal ash into your lakes and streams. He got rid of those rules. And then, of course, there's Trump Care, which happened to be a complete disaster because nobody but special interests wanted that. Remember, the voters, the Republican voters that railed against Obamacare did so because they saw their premiums go up. They saw that, hey, man, I got to buy this insurance. I don't really want this insurance, and it's expensive as hell. Yeah, we're getting some help for it from the government. Some of us are, but others are falling into this donut hole where, boy, this insurance is expensive. We're not getting any help from the government. What do we do? I mean, I don't want to pay for this. I can't afford to pay for this high deductible. Well, a lot of these people, again, they're like, we don't like the ACA. You need to fix the ACA so we can have lower premiums. Well, what did Trump Care do? Well, Trump Care would have raised premiums, and we reported on this as well. The CBO released a report saying, yeah, Trump Care would raise premiums for everybody unless you're a wealthy 20-year-old. Okay? If you're a healthy 20-year-old or if you got a lot of money, it's not really going to impact you, okay? But more importantly, Trump Care would have affected the donors. And what would that have done to them? Well, it would have saved them millions of dollars. The 400 richest households would have saved an average of $7 million a year in taxes. That's why they wanted to repeal the ACA. It did nothing to what he actually promises people. Oh, we're going to cover everybody. It's going to be cheaper. We're going to have pre-existing conditions. We're going to cover all that stuff. All the promises that he made. And that's the bill that they came up with. That's the bill he tried to push through. It was not what the American people wanted. You want to look at what the American people want? Look at single payer. Or at least look at fixing the ACA. Which I think a real fix would be moving to a Medicare for All system because everything else is a Band-Aid. And we know that. But the bottom line here is, he doesn't work for you. He works for his donors. Just like any other politician, he turned out to be in it for himself. He works for his donors. He's not going to drain the swamp. He was never going to drain the swamp because at the end of the day, he is the swamp. Don't say we didn't warn you. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.